Hello everyone, as with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. Franklin Templeton says XRP is moving towards Bitcoin and Ethereum level institutional adoption. And you see it happening already. The ETFs tell you all you need to know where the institutions are looking right now. You see the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF outflows, while the XRP and Solana and HBAR ETF inflows continue. That's because institutions are moving their money away from Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're looking at XRP and Solana and HBAR and others. And the same thing is going to happen with the adoption. You're not going to see this massive wave of adoption for Bitcoin, but you will see it for utility-driven cryptocurrencies. You think these institutions are going to continue to invest in speculation? No, they want something that solves a real-world problem. Pundit says XRP price is not a crypto question, but a systemically important liquidity asset. You know, when it comes to XRP, people always say, well, what's the price of XRP? Where's the price of XRP going? Where do you think the price of XRP will be by this year or that year? But what people really need to look at is what XRP is used for, what its use case is. On-demand liquidity, settlement, cross-border payments. Once you start to look beyond today's price of XRP, you start to realize how big this actually is. You start to realize that XRP is the future. Clarity Act is XRP's golden ticket. And I've been saying that for a while now. What the Clarity Act is really going to do is it's going to separate speculation from utility. The Clarity Act is also going to greenlight all these institutions. It can also greenlight the banks to come out of the testing phase on the private ledger. And Clarity Act is going to benefit XRP more than any other cryptocurrency. But not just XRP. I think it's going to be any utility-driven cryptocurrency. That's what's really going to benefit from the Clarity Act. It's not going to be Bitcoin. You know it's bad when we agree with Cory Booker on the Clarity Act. Take a listen to this.
We also said, very importantly, we want protections for self-custody and innovative technology. We do not want to be criminalizing people who are writing code. And so I was excited. I went into the holidays, I got married, and I came back to this committee and start the year with the news that my Republican colleagues were walking away from the bipartisan process that produced the draft. To be clear, the product before us today is not the bipartisan draft that we're working on. We've come so long, and I sat with stakeholders literally last night. We were clearing up some of the DeFi differences that are not reflected in this bill. The White House has made this infinitely harder. And I've had private conversations with Republican colleagues, staffers that agree with me. So I'm just going to say right now, I've had one of the best experiences I've had in my 12 years in Washington working with Senator Boozman. Let's get back to work. We can finish this in the next week or two in a bipartisan way, have a celebration. I may drink some milk, and we can dance in the end zone when we get this across the line. That's what I'm asking. But until then, we can't support this partisan draft.
I'm actually on Booker's side with this. This, I think, is or was a good direction. Unfortunately, right now, it looks like the White House are taking the bank's side.
So with the White House taking the bank side, and you have all these other politicians that want to get this bill across the finish line, it seems like that's where all the delays are. Because the banks are filling the pockets of some of these politicians. And as long as they're getting rich from the banks, they're going to do whatever the banks tell them to do. It's like, okay, we don't want anybody to earn yield. And that's a problem, in my opinion. I want to earn yield. I want you to earn yield. I want you to be able to cash out your crypto into a stable coin and earn 4, 5, 6% yield on holding that stable coin. But it even goes beyond that. They also are stuck on some of these DeFi things outside of yield as well. But it seems like every time we get close, right away, another delay happens. And I don't think they're going to get anything done anytime soon. And the real big problem with that is innovation cannot push forward in the United States without clarity. Other countries are going to continue to push way ahead of the United States. And remember, I kept telling you that the president and his family making all this money on crypto, it's always going to be an issue. Take a listen to this.
If any president, Democrat or Republican, had earned what I understand to be $867 million off of various cryptocurrencies, I know the other side of the aisle would be having a conniption if this had been Joe Biden or Barack Obama. It's just an enormous amount of money.
It shouldn't even be a double standard. Honestly, I think the president should not have launched Trump coin, Melania coin, even talked about crypto until we got clarity done first. But instead, you have Eric Trump running all over the place, talking about how much he's investing, how much they're making. You know, nothing's going to get done with that, with the Clarity Act, because they're still looking back at how much money the Trumps made on crypto. So you're going to have people that just vote no against everything just because they're pissed off that he made money on it. And that's what I said. He couldn't let it go until we got clarity first. And now it's still going to be an issue going forward. This comes from Evernorth. What if XRP could finally generate native institutional grade yield on idle assets? So they outline why we are leaning into the proposed XRP lending protocol XLS-66 and what it could mean for institutional liquidity on the XRP ledger. For years, much of XRP supply has sat idle in cold storage or on exchanges, despite XRP's role as a global payments and settlement asset. Until now, there hasn't been a native institutional grade way to put that capital to work. The proposed XRP lending protocol introduces single asset vaults designed to support fixed term, fixed rate XRP lending, keeping assets on the XRP ledger while enabling productive on-chain use. This is good for institutional adoption. It's also good for retail, because you could take a loan against your XRP, avoid paying the taxes, and then pay back that loan with what you're getting in passive income from maybe even another cryptocurrency like XLM or XDC or HBAR. You could pay back that loan without selling any of your crypto. And I think this is going to be very big going forward. This comes from Wrath of Conman. Today, Ripple partners Archax and OpenPaid partnered to streamline multi-currency settlement for digital asset trading. Archax will use OpenPaid's infrastructure to facilitate instant GBP, EUR, and USD fiat settlement primarily between Archax and institutional liquidity partners. And Wrath of Conman breaks down the timeline. So June 2024, Ripple and Archax expanded an existing collaboration aimed at bringing tokenized real-world assets onto the XRP ledger, framed as institutional market infrastructure. November 2024, Ripple, Archax, and Aberdeen launched tokenized access to Aberdeen's Lux Money Market Fund on the XRP ledger. The same release states Archax has used Ripple custody since 2022. Ripple and OpenPaid partnered to combine Ripple payments with OpenPaid fiat infrastructure, plus OpenPaid direct mint and burn for RLUSD and fiat to RLUSD conversion via open paid services. That was in July of last year. Now we have in January open paid and RCHACs working together. Like I've been telling you this, and I do believe there's RippleNet technology in this partnership. It's being utilized in the background. But it's always rail after rail getting put in place. And sometimes they're Ripple direct rails. Other times they're rails that are being set up by partners of Ripple. And we're going to continue to see that happen throughout this year as well. Now, someone mentioned to David Schwartz about $100 XRP. Here's what David had to say. I don't feel comfortable saying something like that. While I don't think it's likely, I didn't think it was likely that XRP would ever hit a quarter. I started selling XRP at 10 cents because it seemed insane. I remember when Bitcoin was hitting $100. It seemed like an impossible dream. Back in 2017, 2018 run, people were predicting XRP to possibly hit a quarter back then. It ended up going to $3.84. You never underestimate XRP. He also went on to say this: if many rational people believe that there was a 10% chance that XRP hit $100 within a few years, they definitely wouldn't sell very much today at much less than $10. Those with that belief would quickly buy up most of the XRP because they'd value it more highly than those without that belief. And soon the supply of XRP well below $10 would dry up. That the current trading price is well below $10 shows that there aren't very many people who really think it has a 10% chance of hitting $100 within a few years, with enough confidence to put their money where their mouth is. So anyone who says otherwise is not telling the truth. You can do that same math for yourself for different prices, percentages, and time frames. My personal belief is that most cryptocurrency prices are in fact rational most of the time and actually reflect a reasonable analysis of their potential future prices and the possibilities associated with them. I also personally believe that most significant crypto bull runs were due to unpredictable external changes. But here's what I see happening right now. David said that people that don't believe XRP is going to $100 are people that do believe XRP is going to $100. They will put their money where their mouth is. What are the whales doing right now? They're buying up XRP. XRP whales have bought $710 million worth of XRP this month. So I guess the whales believe XRP is going to $100, even though most retail investors still believe it's not going to happen. I'm telling you now, when people are panic selling, and when people are selling at $5 and $10, these same whales will be there to buy your XRP. They know it's going higher. This comes from the National Cryptocurrency Association. They're talking about how retail wants merchants to accept crypto. So 72% of crypto accepting merchants saw crypto sales increase in the past year. And that's why you're going to see more and more merchants accepting crypto even throughout the rest of 2026. It's going to set off a network effect because no retailer wants to miss out on gains that they can get by accepting crypto. So customer demand is real. 88% report customer inquiries about crypto acceptance. 69% say customers want to pay with crypto at least monthly. 4 and 5, 79% agree that accepting crypto could help them attract new customers. Maybe the banks should start looking at this, because if the banks were to offer crypto, could you imagine how many new customers the bank would be signing up every single month? Could you imagine if they offered stablecoin yield at the bank level, how many new customers would come in and buy stablecoins so that they can earn that yield? The banks right now are fighting the crypto space, but in the end, they're going to have to accept it, or they're just going to get left behind. And we are already on the path to mass adoption. The fact that retailers now see the value in accepting crypto, that already tells you the direction we're going in. But like I always tell you, until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.